Hi, I'm Bill Bradley. Join me for a recent excerpt of American Voices. Here on American Voices, we invite authors and artists to tell us about their favorite place or favorite sound in the country. It's a way for us to celebrate all that America has to offer. Well, this week, Mark Kram Jr. is back. He's the author of Like Any Normal Day. Here he is about another beloved place in America.
My name is Mark Kram Jr. My favorite place in America is the house my father grew up in East Baltimore, on Hudson Street, in a two-story row house. My grandmother, Naomi, kept it immaculately clean. My grandfather worked on the assembly line at the Chevrolet plant, but there was a great deal of joy in the house in many ways. I remember Christmas. I remember the holidays, the uncles. It was like something out of Dylan Thomas, A Child's Christmas in Wales. The men would be in the front room smoking cigars or cigarettes, and the women would be in the middle room, gossiping and talking about, the various intrigues in the family. And then the men would sort of migrate back to the kitchen, and there would be, drinks would be poured, and there would be more smoke in the air. And there was a great sense of happiness that was in the air at that time. Hudson Street became a place of safety for me. The upstairs, there were these rooms with these big beds. My father distanced himself from it, when he became a writer. He came to New York to work for Sports Illustrated. He always had an uneasy relationship with Baltimore, but I never had that. My uncle, or his youngest brother, became a barber, and I would spend countless hours in his barber shop, just sitting there watching people get haircuts and reading the magazines. And, I just associated it with a great deal of love, The people there were very protective of me. My uncle, Gordon, was a great fast-pitch softball player. He was like a Hall of Famer. And so he was always coming by, and he sold chewing gum for a living. It was a working-class environment, but there was a great nobility about it, if you looked at it hard enough. It's astonishing to me that these people no longer populate my life, except in memory. But they left me with so much. I should mention to you, too, that there was a lady that lived next door. Her name was Miss Rose, and she was the most generous woman that I think she was like a mother to me. And she worked at a company where they could get Oriole tickets, and she was always bringing Oriole tickets home for her husband. Mr. Pat drove me to the games, and we would sit there. But Miss Rose was Rose Patswall. She was the kindest woman that I think, one of the most kindest women I've ever met, who had a tragic life. Her son, Jimmy, was killed in Vietnam in 1965, and she never recovered from it. In her heart, I know that her heart was broken in 1,000 places when she got the news of that. We were living in New York at the time, so I was only getting this secondhand, but it sounded horrific. She could never get over it. But she made the greatest chocolate chip cookies at Christmas. When I met my wife and our first Christmas when we were dating, I said, "Here, try these." And she said, "Who made these cookies?" I said, "Miss Rose, you haven't met her yet, but you will." And she was just a wonderful person, such a part of that fabric of that. We weren't related by blood. We certainly were related by spirit, I think. My uncle, who had the barbershop, just passed away in February, so that whole family now is gone, more or less. So I've driven past it. It's been gentrified. It's been gentrified as that whole area has been. I guess a relative has been inside and has seen the changes that have gone on, it would be horrifying for me to go inside of it. It would be. But I do drive by it, and I do get, chills sometimes when I do.
Thank you for listening to American Voices here on my YouTube channel. For more interviews celebrating the goodness and creativity of the American people, click the subscribe button below.